r/Askreddit by Reddit and chill. What is a psychological trick you know to really duck with someone? Immediately after they look at the time, ask them if they know what time it is. Chances are, they will have to look at the time again. Hell, I do this to myself all the time. Look distractedly at their nose or some part of their face. Then scratch or rub the corresponding part on your own face. They'll supposedly get confused and think they have something on them. This was from the book Mind Control: The Ancient Art of Psychological Warfare by the dubiously named Lung. My emotionally unstable brother bought this book and I had to see what the hell he was actually reading. The author sounds like a nutcase through his writing. When you are talking to someone, if you interrupt them and say walk with me in a busy tone and start walking away, they will walk with you and continue the conversation without hesitation. You can lead them wherever you want, really. I'll never go to your secondary place. If you're close-quartered with someone, you can intentionally choose one word out of the lexicon to mispronounce. Swear up and down that your way is the correct way, and the correct way is actually the wrong but popular version. After months of intentionally mispronouncing the word shrimp, my mother now says scrimp. It's been 2 years and I can't undo this. Help. That's wild. My father says Walmart instead of Walmart. I tried correcting him 100 times and obviously say Walmart myself. But he was always like, oh okay, Walmart, and never changed how he says it. Point out something that someone does all the time. One of my co-workers would leave the office at the end of the day and forget his headphones. So he'd leave the office and have to run in again to grab them. I told him I noticed he always forgot his headphones, and how he's self-conscious about it and never forgets them anymore. That actually seems more helpful than duckful. Silence. It's a very effective interview technique, because as humans we are conditioned to break silences in conversations. I had a conversation with my former boss, who was kind of a psychopath. He started by saying he needed to ask me a question. Then he made a bunch of statements and then just stopped and was silent. I assumed his question was implied by the statement, so I started to respond to the statements. He cut me off and chastised me for interrupting when he hadn't asked the question yet. Then he did the same thing. Several statements. Then silence. Then I start to talk and get yelled at. He did this 3 times before finally asking a question. I thought he was absolutely nuts. Later I learned this is a technique people use to establish dominance. Stare at their forehead while they are talking. It really freaks people out. Jim was onto something. Generally anywhere that isn't their eyes, but forehead works best. My friends always stare at my boobs when we're talking and it drives me insane. I forget the exact study, but basically in an office setting you can tell anyone anything, and as long as it's on an official memo, anywhere between 60 and 80% will comply. I think in the study they had it as take this memo to an isolated room, and most people just did it. Wild stuff. There has been a rise in employees receiving emails from their boss telling them to go buy gift cards for Christmas presents or whatever, then to email the codes to the boss so they can hand them out for Christmas. Nigerian princes must be reading the same studies as you. I worked with a friend who kept a 12-pack of Mountain Dew under his desk. For a while I'd sneak extra cans back into the box. Not a lot, and just enough that he was sure he drank more than the box would hold. He knows. Free drinks. Don't worry. You can hardly notice it. When meeting someone for the first time, say oh hello again and shake their hand. Even if they go for like a high five, transfer it into a handshake. They will not ask for your name or any information, they will just think that you definitely know them from somewhere and they just forgot. I do this a lot by accident with conversations. I will say like I was saying, or again, or whatever, only to realize several sentences later, after it's awkward to go back and explain, that I said this to someone else entirely several weeks, months ago. And this is the first time I've ever said this thing to this person. When I get excited my brain forgets things like how time works and other people aren't a hive mind. Yawn. 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 I didn't understand at first, but then I started yawning. Haha. When you get into an elevator with other people, don't turn around to face the doors. It's a common practice in my country and people just stand there being uncomfortable. I hate it. If you want to really mess with someone, go up to them and ask them, "Hey, do you ever get that creepy deja vu feeling?" Then like a week later wear the same thing and ask them the same question. I've done this to so many people and their reactions are hilarious. I think I might start pranking my students with this. Wahahaha. Hand them trash in a conversation. Usually, if you reach out with something, the other person will take it, and if they're busy talking to you they won't pay attention to what you're handing them. I do it sometimes for fun, and the expression I get when they finally look down and realize I just handed them my trash to take care of is great. Yes, I've had this done to me. It fully works effortlessly, but I think that's kinda the point. You just have to confidently pass them the trash like it's theirs. I had a friend that would casually eat a slice of American cheese while taking orders at a particularly rude table. Not say anything other than normally asking what they wanted to eat. Bite of cheese. It would immediately make the guy trying to impress his date by being awful to the server totally docile because it was so awkward. My favorite is the slight lean and making a face like you're farting. I only use it to duck with people. I don't actually fart. It'll derail any conversation. Take a fake homework to school and ask them if they had done it. Yes. Tell your family you're going to get cigarettes. And then never come back. Psychologically duck em good. Good one, dad. If you have access to their computer, take a screenshot of their desktop and set that screenshot as their new desktop image. Then hide all the icons in a folder. They'll go nuts trying to click the images, but they're just part of the wallpaper. Bonus. Flip the image upside down before setting it to their wallpaper. Then set the display orientation to flipped. They'll be convinced their mouse is balked. Another is to set up a script that does something unexpected. Like shut down their computer. And replace an often used desktop shortcuts target to point to it. They click payroll XLS spreadsheet icon. Their computer shuts down. Say have a good day and then follow it with something applicable only to them. Then watch them say thanks you too, only to realize what they said doesn't make sense. I do this with Uber Eats drivers all the time. Have a great day. Drive safe. Thanks. You too. Wait. I like to be on the other side of that. I'll say thanks you too purposefully in situations like that. Most commonly at the movies when the ticket checker tells me to enjoy the movie. When talking to them, stare at their nose, and when they ask why you're staring at their nose, tell them that you aren't. Ugh, I never know where to look when I'm talking to people. Everything feels weird. Especially in my teenage years, it freaked people out to net react angrily to their tries of bullying insulting you. At some point I even agreed with them on certain topics. That got them extremely confused. Wear it as armor. And it can never be used to harm you. Embrace the insults and they lose all power. I can make my pupils really big on command. It's some weird thing. So I'll be having a conversation both looking at each other, and slowly I'll begin to increase the size of my pupils until it's at the max, and the person I'm speaking to will kinda stop the conversation and be all like WTF. The reason people do that is because you look like you're on drugs. Nursery rhymes. Hum a few bars, stop, then start a few bars later and repeat. If you pick one person and one song for that person, it can be quite annoying, especially done over a few days or weeks. Had a group of engineer overseers. 3 of them to be exact. That I would always use 3 blind mice every time they got close. Took them about 4 months to finally say please stop. Ducking jingle bells. A coworker knew I hated Christmas music and would hum it just to irritate me. It got to the point. He would tap out the rhythm with his hammer and whatever we were working on, and would watch me get red with anger each and every time because it sticks in my head for days. Tell someone you want to play rock paper scissors. As you're both getting ready to count down. Compliment their shirt or something to throw them off and start counting down. Then you pick rock. When you interrupt someone's concentration during the game, they automatically go to the most recent thing in their head, which will be scissors, rock, paper, scissors. It works every time until they realize you're ducking with them. OMG. My BF likes to challenge me to rock paper scissors all the time when something needs to be done that neither of us feel like doing. Small things like getting up to fill a glass of water. I stopped playing because I kept losing. Now I have a trick to try next time. Wave to random people in public. And when they wave back, look at them confused and point behind them. They'll be crying about the awkwardness until they start their new life in another country. Who the duck does this, LMAO? When they are angry with you, simply say, "You seem upset. What's the matter?" Then smile. If that doesn't work, punch them in the throat. Ah. The old disarming smile followed by throat punch. Gets them every time. Prolonged smiles. It stops people dead in their tracks. I personally love to do it when someone's chatting shit. You gaze directly into their eyes so they lock theirs on you in return and then plaster a ginormous grin on your face. Sometimes it directly gives a message you're unimpressed and they stop. If they don't, you continue to maintain eye contact and smile the exact same way. They'll become increasingly uncomfortable and lose their train of thought. It's also good to use at random times. Sometimes I'll just smile for a long time at my friends and you're able to see them physically writhe in discomfort at it. Smiling in such a way gives people a massive sense of insecurity. No matter who you are, because you feel the spotlight has unexpectedly been turned on you and you don't know why. That's pure evil. I'm impressed. While in a conversation with someone, just smoothly hand something over. They will automatically take it, and vice versa. If you take something from their hand, they will automatically hand it over. The German Stasi used to break into dissidents' houses and move all their furniture just like an inch in one direction to duck with them. Offer somebody gum but don't take a piece for yourself. Play a game. Auction a $50 bill if everyone agrees to the simple rules. Highest bidder pays you what they bid and gets the $50 bill. Second highest bidder pays you whatever they bid and gets nothing. You'll make money off the deal. Edit. Both the highest bidder and second highest bidder pay. Unless they are smart and the bidding stops at $25. So my fiancé is from the south and I am from the north and went to a Catholic school. He absolutely drilled proper grammar into my mind for all time. My fiancé and her twin loves to joke about my accent. So I flipped it on them and asked them to pronounce completely mundane words like table, cloth, or dog and make a huge fuss about how they were saying things wrong. At first they didn't think I was serious, but after about a week I overheard them trying to pronounce those words to each other and figure out how they are saying it wrong. They even asked Google how to pronounce the words properly. After about a month I told them I was kidding because they were getting deeply concerned with how they speak, and they both work in jobs where they routinely interact socially with a lot of people. Kind of psychological. Pin a spread out banknote to a dartboard over the bullseye. Tell someone if they hit it 3 times, they keep it. If they lose, they owe you the equivalent amount. First shot, they stand a standard distance away. Second shot, they take a large step forward. Third shot, they take 2 large steps backwards. Sounds easy, but most will fail miserably. My favorite is to bet a friend at the bar $5 that I can drink their drink without touching their glass in any way. They'll almost always take the bet. Pound the drink normally and hand them $5. Most drinks at the bar around here are $12. Chuckle for a moment and by the next round, everyone has a laugh and learns a harmless new trick. I always say thank you in a different language each time I get off the bus. Nice try. Duo. Before I argue or debate with a relative, I ask them what the criteria would be for them to change their mind. If they say there's no chance, then we talk about something else. Neil deGrasse Tyson. When they're talking, glance at something behind them. Go back to making eye contact immediately. Pause for a second, then glance at the same spot again, but make some subtle facial expression for a split second, like confused, concerned, intrigued, etc. They'll probably look back. If they do, ask them what they're looking at before they ask you. If you turn your head to look at something, people tend to mimic your behavior to see what you are looking at. It's instinctual. So I will look at random emptiness, and if people look at where I am looking, I ask, do you see that? When they say no, I reply, I gotta take my meds. Or something similar. Some people have lively reactions. It's fun to duck with people's heads. Also, if you're in school and you sit relatively close to someone, it's always fun to change how you sit and they will usually mimic you. Edit. Gun to fun. Just walk past someone, act depressed, and say please stop doing that. It will eat at them. That's just plain evil. Mate. Ducking like and subscribe.